Should Britain remain in the EU? Yes, of course it should remain in the EU. Well, my view is that we should remain in the EU at almost any cost. It's fundamentally important. The majority of our trade, although nearly half of our trade is actually with the Republic of Ireland, the majority of our trade comes from within the EU. And the main argument used by people who want to get out of the EU is that we can pull out of all of these various treaties, the social chapter, the Convention of Human Rights and all of that, but still remain important trade links with major European countries. Well, that's simply not true, because a lot of European countries simply won't want to, well, they won't trust Britain, and they won't want to trade with a country that doesn't want to be part of the same club as them. I know it's a bit of a strange argument, but essentially they won't really respect us. We might get a few trade deals with places like Moldova and Romania, but we're not going to be trusted by the French and the Germans, which are the important people, and the Spanish. And the other argument that people who want to leave the EU, or well, most notably the UKIP people, is that we can have stronger ties with Commonwealth countries like India or with Canada, much stronger ties with them, which is a good idea, and an idea I would of course support, but it's fundamentally flawed, because they don't really want it. Not a single Commonwealth country is prepared to form a stronger trade deals exclusively within Commonwealth countries and to get a closer together Commonwealth at the cost of other things like the BRIC nations. India isn't going to have a special relationship with UK because in 15 years India is going to be a superpower and much more powerful than us. They will probably even get our seat on the UN Security Council, probably quite rightly, because they are the largest democracy in the world, so they do really deserve to be there. So fundamentally speaking, we need to remain part of the EU at almost any price. I say almost any price because of course there are elements that obviously there are situations when it would be an idea, but they are extremely rare situations, and at the moment it would seem a huge shame to lose out on this great European dream, a free, united, democratic Europe stretching from Portugal to Poland. It was a shame to miss out on all of that just because of a silly economic crisis that's begun, that didn't even start in Europe. It started because of a few shifty people in New York. The other thing that people who don't want to be in Europe think is we don't want to be part of a federal Europe. Well, why don't you want to be part of a federal Europe? Apart from a kind of patriotism that doesn't really exist anymore, I think that why on earth shouldn't we be part of a federal Europe? What's wrong with it? It's much better to be part of a federal Europe than it is to be considered by some to be the 51st state of America. Europe as a convention of human rights. Europe itself, the EU, has not actually invaded other countries. The EU as itself, it has parts of NATO they have, but the EU hasn't. The EU could, if it became together, become a superpower. Europe could become a superpower. That's never going to happen. If we leave the EU, we're not going to be a superpower. India, China, Indonesia, Brazil, they're going to completely overtake us. Even Mexico, once they've sorted out their drug wars, could become a superpower, surpassing us. And it would be stupid to get rid of all that just because you think, oh, I don't like the French, oh, the Germans are nice, oh, Romanians, they're strange people, oh, they all drive horse and carts and things. It's stupid, completely stereotypical views like that, which I'm not saying is the main argument used by Eurosceptics. Don't get me wrong on that. There are some legitimate criticisms of Europe, but they should be constructive criticisms of Europe. For example, we should have a more democratic Europe. We should have elected posts, everything. We should have a more elected, an elected body, which is exactly what is going to happen at this next European elections. The members of political parties, except not the Conservative Party because they left the European People's Party in 2009, but Labour Party members, and I believe also possibly Liberal Democrat Party members, can actually vote for who is going to be the leader of their party in the European Parliament from across the whole of Europe. It might be a German, it might be a Swede, it might be a Spaniard, it might even be a British person. Maybe it's unlikely this time round, but next time round it could of course be somebody well, not John Prescott, of course, but it could be Peter Hain, or possibly even in a few years, even David Miliband could be the leader of the President of Europe, which would be a lot better, I think. And I think it's fundamentally important we remain part of a democratic Europe, not a bureaucratic Europe.